Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's Last Post ceremony. My name is Greg Kimball, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Air Force is Warrant Officer Angelo Augustus. We warmly welcome the family of Private Alan Vincent Charles Hurlock, whose story will be told shortly. We are honoured to acknowledge His Excellency Shmuel Ben Shmuel, Ambassador of Israel to Australia, Brigadier General Gal Hirsch, Israel Defence Forces, and Olivier Cadic, Senator for French citizens living abroad. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL and Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria and RSL Queensland who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the pool of reflection by family, visitors and students on behalf of the following schools. From New South Wales, Tacoma Public School. From Queensland, Westside Christian College Primary Department, Goodna. Mackay Christian College Primary Department, Burleigh Waters. And from Tasmania, Sacred Heart Primary School, Giveston. Please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. Students, you may be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's first World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the pool of reflection.
Today, we remember and pay tribute to Private Alan Vincent Charles Hurlock, who was killed fighting in the Second World War. Alan Hurlock was born in January 1917, the eldest of 5 children of Alan and Maud Hurlock of Capun, near Dalby in southern Queensland. Known to his family and friends as Vince, he attended state school at Capun before working as a farm labourer on the family property and was very popular in the surrounding district. Vince's brother Edward had enlisted in the army and was taken prisoner by the Japanese when Singapore fell in February 1942. According to his family, Vince enlisted in June 1942 to avenge his brother's capture. After some months of training, he sailed for Port Moresby and in late September was sent to reinforce the Australians fighting in the Owen Stanley Ranges. The 2nd 14th Battalion had begun the Kokoda campaign less than a month earlier with 546 men, but by late September was left with just 88. The battalion was so weak at this time that it had been amalgamated with the 2nd 16th to form a composite battalion. After a period of rest and retraining, the 2nd 14th returned to the fighting as a functioning battalion, although its strength numbered just 341 men. The campaign in Papua soon turned in the Allies' favour as the Japanese, having exhausted their supplies, began to fall back towards the beachheads on the northern coast. Along with the rest of the 21st Brigade, the 2nd 14th Battalion was sent to capture the Japanese beachhead at Gona after being airlifted to Popondetta. The battalion met stiff Japanese resistance on the 29th of November when it assaulted well-concealed fighting positions, losing 13 men killed and 23 wounded. Further attacks continued in the days afterwards as the battalion pushed through to the beach and secured over a kilometre of shoreline from the Japanese. Hurlock was listed as missing following these operations, although he was later confirmed as having been killed in action at Gona. Aged 25 at the time, he is buried at the Port Moresby Bamana War Cemetery under a small epitaph from his grieving family, too dearly loved to be forgotten. Hurlock's name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my left, among some 40,000 Australians who died while serving in the Second World War. His photograph is displayed beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Private Alan Vincent Charles Hurlock, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out at Pozières or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they'll be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. We thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial and wish you all a very good evening.